Hey all, Heretic here with another Hearthstone Battlegrounds tips and tricks guide, and I'm here to bring you the information you need to help you win with George the Fallen. So get comfy and let's dive in. First, let's talk about his hero power for 2 gold, which reads, give a friendly minion Divine Shield. Pretty simple, pretty easy, you can't really beat it too. It's a permanent buff, relatively cheap. Divine Shield, if you don't know, means the first time you take damage, it negates all of that damage. So if something hits you for 1 or 50,000 or poison damage, it does nothing. Pretty amazing. Can't really go wrong for that. The fact that it's targeted makes it very useful, so you could really put it on the minion you need to do it. Late in the game, you're going to fill your board with these people, sitting in bubbles, laughing and killing people. Now his buddy, Karl the Lost, is a 3/4 neutral minion who's tier 4, which reads, after you use your hero power, give your Divine Shield minions +2 attack. I mean, pretty damn good. 3/4 is not a bad body. The fact that it's on a tier 4 minion makes it not the best, but it's extra attack that's, every minion with Divine Shield, not just ones you gave with your hero power. If you buy something and it's already got Divine Shield and you buff something else, it gives them all. So it's pretty damn useful. Important note, if you hero power something in the shop, it will give +2 hero power to all your minions also. So, board's full, you want to keep your buddy, you're like, oh, I'm just going to target the shop, I'm not going to buy it, but you still get the effect. Or maybe it's a minion you want to buy and use later, hero power him, that way everything gets the attack buff, put it in your hand, don't worry about it, all good. Now, when he's gold, he's a 6/8. Okay. Not bad. Now it's +4 attack. Still, once again, not bad. George's buddy for me is kind of it depends what you're playing. If you're playing a mech type build with a Foe Reaper and you're trying to get every extra bit of attack, okay, maybe it's good. But if you happen to be lucky and you've got a bunch of Murlocs with poison, you're already kind of winning the game. +4 attack's not going to do anything for you. So it really depends on what kind of build you have going and what the state of the board looks like. He's kind of a 50-50 on whether or not I keep him. Sometimes yes, sometimes he's just gone and I replace him with something else. Depends what you find. Alright, now when it comes to tiering with George, once again, he's just an easy hero to play, really. I like Warrior Curve. It's simple, it's dependable, it sets you up for triples. If you get someone like an AFK who, isn't there on turn 2 or just a player who drops out early, go to 2-on-2. It can't hurt you at all. But typically, I'll Warrior Curve and just play it safe that way. Now, when we look at minions that are good, George has got a lot that work with him because, hey, shock, it's not bad when you can give any minion Divine Shield. It turns out that's pretty good. Quillbores make this hero better. All of a sudden, you got a Gem Splitter. Now you're getting a Blood Gem every single time one of your Divine Shields get popped. Since it's tier 3, you've probably got a couple by now, and hey, just make the Gem Splitter have Divine Shield. Go nuts. This is great long-term value because it's a targeted buff. All of a sudden, you're playing whatever. You've got a board full of this, you're committed to that, and suddenly a Hydra pops up, or an early Foe Reaper, and you're getting, say, 4 to 6 Blood Gems a turn. That Foe Reaper, that Hydra is going to get out of control really quick, and it's great. Ground Shaker's another great one. You're producing a bunch of Blood Gems? Why not give your entire board a bunch of attack? Really can't go wrong with that also. It just works pretty good. Oh, Murlocs are in? You happen to get an SI7 and start getting a couple poisoned? Now you've got Divine Shield? You're in pretty damn good shape. If you could pull off... The Murloc poison one's a little harder to pull off because that's usually a more late game move. But if you get it, you probably won the lobby. I mean, you're at least top 4. You're probably just going to outright win the lobby pretty much every time. Greasebot, while he's not amazing, is a good long-term value. Remember, your entire board's going to have Divine Shield, including him. And every time one of those shields gets popped, you're getting that buff, that +1/+1. Hey, if you triple it, the +2/+2. That adds up. And since it's only tier 4, the Greasebot, you triple into that from a 3. It's a pretty good early steal. I mean, there's a lot of good 4s you can grab, but that's a nice one in the early game. And last but not least, one of the ones I like the most is Holy Mackerel. If you can get him taunt, and your entire board has Divine Shield, you're in a pretty good position. You stick him all the way on the right side of your board with Divine Shield taunt, then the rest of your board on the left with Divine Shield means basically you're recycling that shield for quite a while constantly. without using any tricks, just the minions on the board. You don't even have to get any shenanigans going where you're bouncing shields back and forth. It works, and it works really damn well. So definitely look for this combo if you can pull it off. There's just a lot of minions that work. If you look through them all, these are kind of the MVPs, but there's still even more you can find out there. There's no bad play with this hero power. All right, now when it comes to countering George, this can be a little tough because some of it depends on luck and some pre-planning on your part. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I've had a George in the lobby. It's like turn 8. I'm not really paying attention to the fact that who I'm fighting next, and that's a big mistake, especially when it's George. You want to be in the habit of checking to see who your next opponent is, especially when George is in the lobby, even more so. Because you need to have some way to deal with Divine Shields. You know, by turn 8, he's probably got 3 or 4 of them. That's pretty damn good and can hurt you pretty bad if they're the right minions and they have any degree of buffs. Obviously, a bumper minion. Now, when I say a bumper minion, that means any throwaway trash minion. Your Brand. Put him up front. He doesn't do anything. His only job is to take out one shield. Is it great? No, but what else was Brand going to do for you? It's not like he's got a death rattle or any synergy that works while the board's active in combat. His job is at the end when you're in the shop phase. So don't really worry about something like that. Presters. If you're playing dragons, Presters Pyrospawn. At least every time you swing, will counter your target's Divine Shield. Pretty damn good. Not so good when they're attacking you, but it's not perfect, it just works. Same vein, Cleave. If you've got a Cleave minion, it's going to take out 2 to 3 Divine Shields. That's worth it in the late game if you have nothing else. And yes, I know some of you have been yelling at the screen, the clear MVP is the Unstable Ghoul. 1/3 Death Rattle, do 1 damage to all minions. Now, this is going to knock off your Divine Shields also, but something tells me the George player is getting a lot more value out of his than you are. And maybe if you've got a good setup, maybe you should put your Divine Shield minion first just to make sure it might attack before the shields get wiped out. Positioning matters a lot versus George because you're swapping in something to counter Divine Shields on a late round that normally you don't want to give up that spot from the minion that's currently occupying that slot. But you gotta do what you gotta do to win, right? Overall, George is a good, solid, dependable hero. He will get you to 4th or 1st pretty much equally well. He's a good tier 2 hero. Is he the best? No. Is he the worst? Oh, hell no. I'd say solid tier 2, probably high to mid tier 2. He's just very dependable. So unless you've been offered whatever the current meta's darling is, whatever, hero is the best of the best, because that does change with nerfs, George is always consistent. There's a reason why people get mad when they see a George in the lobby and they start rethinking their play. They're like, maybe I'm going to pick up on turn 4. I'm sitting at tier 2. Maybe I'm going to pick up this Unstable Ghoul just for later in the game in case George is still around. Not a bad play. It's worth it sometimes. He's very effective. He's just very dependable. He works with virtually every build, I'd say, except for Beast Death Rattle. And even then you can make it work if you position everything right and you get the right minions with taunt. So it does work there too. The one thing I have to say about George is it doesn't feel great to lose to him. It's kind of like, when it's turn 12, 14, and you run into the guy who's got 3 amalgams with Divine Shield Poison. Yes, I know that means one's gold, which feels even worse. You're like, at least it's turn 12, turn 14. But it's turn 9 and you run into that. You're kind of irritated. George kind of makes you always feel like it's turn 9, because his whole board's got Divine Shield. He's got every little trick you could have, and he's just a little irritating to lose to. But that being said, he's still a fun hero to play. Just gotta make sure you're on the right side of it. In the end, I attached a link with some gameplay if you're looking to see how I piloted him. Stay tuned, I have more guides on the way. And I hope you learned a few things today and had a good time. I know I did. Bye.